Blessing. As we continue to revisit the prophetic instructions God has given us in the series, the ABC for the End Times, today we are going to focus on part 3, the black horse and the judgment that it represents. Revelation 6, verse 5 and 6. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine." The black horse carries with it the judgment of inflation. The horseman had a pair of scales in his hands. Scales represent the justice of God in our lives. We should replicate this same justice to others. However, there has been so much injustice in this world. Employers exploiting their workers for cheap labor and companies overcharging for personal gain. God is allowing a judgment of inflation to come over the nations. Gas prices continue to rise, $100 for a bag of groceries that doesn't have much in it, and there's rumors of recession. Verse 6 says, "Do not harm the oil and the wine." The flow of oil represents richness from heaven, and the cup of wine, covenant. The Lord desires that richness be used according to His covenant design. The Lord has a financial plan, and He wants to seal His identity in the finances of the world. This requires a process of judgment. So how should we respond to the judgment of inflation? Let's review the ABC instructions the Lord has given us. A. Come back to mutual help. Hebrews 13 and verse 16. But do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased. God is pleased when we give of ourselves. Share from what we have, no matter how little or how great. It can be very easy only to think of ourselves in this season. Let's renounce to that selfishness and let's share and give where opportunity arises. B. Helping the most vulnerable people. Acts 11 verse 27 through 30. And in these days prophets came from Jerusalem to Antioch. Then one of them, named Agabus, stood up and showed by the Spirit that there was going to be a great famine throughout all the world, which also happened in the days of Claudius Caesar. Then the disciples, each according to his ability, determined to send relief to the brethren dwelling in Judea. This they also did, and sent it to the elders by the hands of Barnabas and Saul. We need to come back to the original motto of church. According to our abilities, let's meet the needs of others. Instead of looking inward towards ourselves, let's see the needs of others and respond accordingly. C. Don't stop sowing. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 8. But if a man lives many years and rejoices in them all, yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they will be many. All that is coming is vanity. We need to keep sowing into the kingdom of God. And it's not just financially. We need to keep sowing and praying for one another, giving of our time and our efforts, our skills, manifesting the love of God to others. Let's keep sowing in difficult times, because if we sow in these difficult times, we will reap in these difficult times as well. So let's sow in faith and watch God produce a harvest. In closing, I want to share this promise from the Lord. Psalm 37 verse 25. I have been young and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his descendants begging for bread. Let's place God's identity upon our finances. Money to a believer must mean it's worship to the Lord. It means fair scales and the justice of God. It's about giving and not taking. Let's come back to the mutual help, meeting the needs of the most vulnerable, and never, never stop sowing. To learn more about this prophetic instructions that the Lord has given us, visit Abba's Ministry YouTube channel and watch part 3 of the playlist, ABC for the End Times. Be blessed and shalom.